Hi guys. So for today's Writing Wednesday, I am going to be talking about some tips to help you with NaNoWriMo. And in case you guys don't know, NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month, and the idea is to write 50,000 words in the month of November. When I first heard about NaNoWriMo, I thought that sounded really stupid. I was like, why don't people just try to write as much as they can all the time instead of just for one single month? But trying to force yourself to write 50,000 words in 1 month really does push you. It tests your capabilities. It helps you take a look at your time management. So it's definitely worth a shot, and I think it's a really good opportunity to connect with other writers because everybody's coming together for this really intense goal. That being said, I did hit 50,000 words when I did NaNoWriMo last year, but I struggled through it for sure. So this year, I'm applying some tips that I learned from my experience last year that I thought I'd share with you guys in case it is helpful for you. Jumping right in, tip number 1 is don't edit. A lot of writers try not to edit anyway as they go, but if you guys are like me, I hate the idea that there are super easy fixes that I could do if I just took a second to run through and do a read through of what I just wrote. But when you're doing NaNoWriMo, you don't have the time. So just skip the editing phase. You can do that when the month is over, but if you really want to hit that 50,000 words, don't try to edit as you go. Tip number 2 is to plan ahead. Obviously, if you're a plotter, you're already going to want to have to plan ahead anyway because that's just your writing style, but even pantsers can plan ahead, and not necessarily just with what they're going to write, but time management. Approximately 1,667 words need to be written every day if you want to hit your 50,000 word count. But realistically, you're probably not going to be very available on Thanksgiving Day. You might not even be available Thanksgiving weekend. So think about all those things that are going to be coming up and plan accordingly so you can actually figure out your daily word count. Tip number 3 is to start strong. By the end of the month, you are going to be super worn out and you're probably going to be kind of sick of writing. Even if you love writing, you're probably going to be so tired of it by the end of the month. So try really hard in that first week or even just that first day to get out as many words as possible so you don't have to push yourself at the end. You can relax at the end. Tip number 4 kind of goes off of the keeping strong tip, and that would be to keep going. This was a huge mistake I made when I did NaNoWriMo last year. I did so well in the first week, and then I let myself slack a little, and then Thanksgiving came around, and all of a sudden, in a week and a half left of NaNoWriMo, I had a lot to get done. Tip number 5, and one that I did happen to do last year, and it was so helpful, would be to join NaNoWriMo writing groups. If you go on NaNoWriMo's website and you register and everything for NaNoWriMo, they tell you where there are going to be local writer hangs and stuff like that. I didn't get the opportunity to participate in any of those, but I did join some writing groups online, and they were so beneficial. I know for a lot of people, they feel like the social media aspect of things is just going to be a distraction, but really it's not only a group of people to hold you accountable, it's also a group of people to be your personal cheerleaders. By the time this video goes up, I'm going to have a NaNoWriMo group for Facebook listed in the description bar down below, so those of you who are interested in joining via that link, you can. Tip number 6, and something I mentioned in another writing video recently, is to meal prep. Because so much of your spare time is going to be spent writing, you're probably not going to have as much time to make food or to go get food. So I highly recommend planning ahead everything you're going to eat. Make sure you go to the grocery store, put stuff in your freezer, make stuff in your slow cooker, whatever you have to do to make sure that your eating and cooking time is at a minimum. Tip number 7 is to have a story in mind. Some people decide for NaNoWriMo that the day of, they're just gonna wing it, they're gonna go for it, they've always wanted to write, and they try it and they fail miserably, and it's because they don't have anything in mind for what to actually write. Even if it's just a really rough idea of what you want to write, having some kind of a story idea in mind is better than just winging it and going for it, because you're probably not going to be able to think further ahead than maybe like a couple of paragraphs. Tip number 8 is to make yourself some kind of writing music playlist. I personally don't like listening to music while I write, but I love listening to music for inspiration when I'm not able to write. And for those of you that do love listening to music while you write, if you have a playlist ready to go, it makes the writing process just so much more fun. Tip number 9 is to keep some kind of writing journal. Obviously, if you're out and about doing things, you don't have the time to be writing and you don't have like a computer right in front of you. But if you get a really good idea, it's nice to have a journal right there at the ready to write stuff down for when you do have a chance to write. Tip number 10 is to give yourself breaks. Unlike what I was saying about my own self when I started to take prolonged breaks in the middle of the month. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about literally if you're writing and you're recognizing that you're starting to be less productive, give yourself a break, go get yourself a snack, do something other than sitting right in front of your computer, because if you're losing productivity, then it's not helpful anyway. Tip number 11 is to take advantage of NaNoWriMo's resources. I mentioned earlier that a lot of times they will have a list of local writer hangouts that you can go to, but beyond that, they a lot of times also have other things that you can try out, some free trials. And I know last year they allowed you to try out Scrivener, which is this amazing writing program that a lot of people use, kind of like Microsoft Words, but it's designed for writers. Tip number 12 is to let your writing be bad. When you're writing really fast and when you're trying to meet a word count goal and you're not going back to edit, your writing is probably going to be complete garbage. That is fine for now. The goal of NaNoWriMo is not to spit out the most beautiful, artistic, poetic writing in the world. It's to push yourself and to see how capable you are of doing that. Tip number 13 is to do test runs. The reason I'm filming these tips now instead of actually in November is because they're not helpful once you're in the middle of it. So now is the time to test yourself and see how many words do you on average write in an hour, in a half hour, how good are you at writing in the morning or in the day, all that kind of stuff. Do test runs to figure out what works best for you. Tip number 14, and going off of that last tip, is to be realistic. Some people write a lot in an hour and some people don't. Figure out what you do and then set your goals accordingly. Don't try to set your goals based off of what somebody else does or what is good for someone else. Do what works best for you and be realistic about it. Tip number 15, and arguably the most important tip, is to let the people in your life know that you're pretty much not going to be available for most of the month. Obviously, if you're a parent, you can't just tell your children to all of a sudden be self-sufficient. You still have all your main priorities going on, but notify friends and family members that you aren't going to be as available in this next month, that you're going to be very busy and you're going to have some important stuff going on, because if you're really serious about this, you have to put it first. You can't just go hang out at the movies and go get coffee and do random stuff whenever you want. You got to actually make this a priority. Anyway, that's it. Those are my 15 tips to hopefully help you be as successful as possible doing NaNoWriMo. If you guys have any of your own tips, please feel free to leave those in the comment section down below. But anyway, if you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon so you get notified when I post new videos, and check out some of my videos right over here. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.